We're going to talk about some really good music, some really heavy music that sounds a bit like this. And also this. And some that sounds like this. We are in our regular fashion observing many obtuse corners of the Heavyverse. We are looking at death metal in a variety of ways, as per. There's some metalcore sprinkled in. There's some fellas with cowboy hats. I mean, what more could you bloody well want?
What more could you ask for?
Subscribe.
Right, Gary, I'd like you to sort of climb upon your mind falcon and ride it all the way to Italy. Can you do that for me?
That was my falcon noise.
Welcome. This is Skald. Skald are from Romagna in Italy. They have released an album called Abyss Calls to Abyss on Time to Kill Records, and the record was released January 30th, 2026. Gary, what do you think of this?
This album absolutely rips.
This
album is so sick. We were talking about it in the week, and you mentioned Black Breath, and I was like,
oh yes,
oh shit, because I've been having like a really big Sentence to Life kick lately. I've been listening to that album loads, and I think I must have just been perfectly primed to listen to Skald at the moment that Skald appeared in my peripheral vision. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just like I was ready for it. I needed something that sounded like this, and it emerged. It's just a band who've been brought up on Left Hand Path and Slaughter of the Sun combined, really, isn't it?
Mate, absolutely. You've got the Swedish death in there. You've got the Left Hand Pathiness. You've got just this really brilliant punk energy that's shining through. Like they're very much like in the death metal punk sphere, and it's just sick as all hell, dude. It's like it's got sort of crusty, punky brilliance, and then just razor sharp riffings. I'm digging it so much, dude.
It's just exciting to know that there's bands out there on this kind of level that are as good as this still. Like, it's good to know that all of the incredible bands haven't already been found, and all that's left on the underground level is like all right ones. Like, this absolutely rules. They're just a band who are clearly obsessed with a term that I've invented, riffcraft. It's just everything that they do, every riff that they put together has been agonizingly constructed, and it just sounds perfect. Like, every moment on this record is a face melter. Every song ends incredibly. Like, that seems to be a factor on this Skald record, is every track has the sickest outro you've ever heard.
Yeah, man. So, like, you know, it spends a lot of its time sort of ripping in this sort of like real high tempo, sort of like your Trap Them, Black Breath arena.
Absolutely.
But it has got a really great sense of like push and pull. Like, they're like when they like lock into like an absolutely like banging stomping groove and then smash it into a solo, like they do that quite a lot. It's like such a sick move. It's like the ratios are perfect for like all of the switch ups on the record to really hit hard. Like you're really at home with like the fast paced intensity, but then like you really do notice when they just lock into a nice little groove.
100%, man. And they got three guitarists as well, which I think makes those groove lock-in moments hit even harder when they all just come together. I didn't dig too far into the lyrical content, but I believe they are a feminist occult band, which is very cool. And it got me thinking, like, this is probably a band, if you've got a Venom Prison shaped hole in your life, I think, Scold are the band who are here to fill it. Because I know a lot of people lament the loss of Venom Prison when she went a bit J.K. Rowling, and everyone was a bit like, no, we've had enough of that. But here's a band who doing this sounds better than any of the Venom Prison albums anyway. Like, this is like this is them, but it's just so much more raucous, and I think the raucousness of it is really the thing that puts it over the top of a lot of these kind of HM2 fast death metal bands that you might hear. Like, it's just Larry. Every moment that kind of occurs, it's Pamela, isn't it, the vocalist? She's just sort of commanding over the top. She's such a snarling, Larry presence over all of the tracks, which I think really sets them apart. Yeah,
the vocal approach is really cool. It's like, you know, you've got these like ripping, stinky death riffs, and then you've got like the vocals sort of like they're sort of like really reverb soaked, and they sort of wail out through like a bloat-soaked cavern. It's like, it's so cool, dude. It's really infectious. Like, this thing really does like command you to clench your fist and just smash your head. And like, you know, throughout the record as well, there's like proper two-step moments in there. Like, it's riffs, it's moshes, it's proper best of both, man. It's proper Heavyist best of both.
100%, dude. This is a banger. I would like to talk about a band called Toothless.
What is the point in waiting? We know that person's side cannot even be called your own. It's ancient paralyzing. The real intention is supposed to be lost to satisfy avarice. Never dying
I think we've talked about them before. They're a 4-piece metalcore band from Pennsylvania. I think they come from Scranton. Like, I don't know if they work at Dunder Mifflin or not, but I'm pretty sure that's where they come from. They got a new album out. It came out on the 27th of January. It's called Past Futures. I believe it was released independently. I know this is a bit of a Discord Heavyist Slavian, but it's so cool that I can get like notifications from multiple people in the Discord saying you would like this. And they just get me because they understand. You can listen to like 30 seconds of this record and be like, this is going to be up Gary's street. This is going to be a bit of Gary. I think actually the band consists of homies. I believe it's members of Scorched Mind, and Travis, the vocalist, was, I don't know the status of the band. He's in Sleep Sculptor, if you remember them.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I think we talked about they had like a 3-track EP out a little while ago, which we talked about, but it was ages ago now. But this is their first full album, and I'm assuming that the reason that people were like, "Oh, Gary, you need to check this out," is because of the obvious influence of Every Time I Die. And yeah, absolutely. But when I was listening to it, the first thing that really struck me, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm down with this," is that kind of the early Architects / Johnny Truant influence on what's going on in the way that they put their riffs together. It's just got that like, it's got that hard, really, you know, the intelligent end of metalcore from sort of 2010 around that period. Really, really technical, fun riffs. Johnny Truant, I think, are one of the most devastatingly slept-on bands that have ever existed. No Tears for the Creatures isn't even on Spotify anymore, which is an absolute shame.
Up. Is it not?
It's not. If you want to listen to it, you're gonna have to go on YouTube and listen to it, which is a real travesty. The other two records are on there, but that record is real. You just spilled your drink.
No, I thought I did. I really, really thought I did. It's okay.
The look of abject terror on your face. This is just, I guess, what I kind of would sum Toothless up as doing is the kind of concise chugging riffs of Norma Jean at their best, with this really good taut drum performance that's really well executed and kind of reminds you that actual drum skins were hit without compromising on any of the oomph that you would get from like a GGD Oderhelm drums kind of programmed approach, which is the more common thing to do when you're trying to get champagne on a beer budget when it comes to writing a heavy record these days. And I think that all rolled together with a really strong charismatic frontman in Travis is like, I think he kind of reminds me of Spencer Chamberlain from Under Oath with his vocal, which I think is a big compliment. And it's just kind of loads of stuff from that kind of time period that are my favourites all rolled into one. Like I hear bits of like Stray from the Path, Make Your Own History, or I hear like Antimacy by Dead and Divine, which is one of my favourite records from that era. And I just think this album is really, really well put together. Like they wrote really strong, bouncy metalcore riffs, but they also have these moments where they kind of get a bit more emotional, or maybe they throw quite a lot of melody into areas. But you know, it's never like a kind of traditional let's scream the verse, sing the chorus. It'll be like, okay, this song's got like a melodic bridge or a melodic intro, something like that, where it's a bit more of an interesting way to approach adding melody into a sound of quite a heavy band. And if I was kind of putting my critical hat on, the only thing I would maybe say is that it doesn't really show me too much that would suggest that it could break out. Like, you know how much I love Johnny Booth, and I kind of look back to like first-hand accounts by Johnny Booth was a really sick representation of that band's influences. But then when they did Moments Elsewhere, they really followed their album up with something that only they could make, and as a result, the buzz around that band just got infinitely bigger. And I think this is a really, really strong first statement for Toothless, but I would like to see what this record, the confidence that this record would give them to go on and really like find their own sound, and not just kind of be like, well, I recognise that bit from Norma Jean and I recognise that bit from the, you know, just kind of being able to really cherry pick these moments and go, well, yeah, I absolutely love that band too. So I'm cool. I'm really into the idea that you've kind of used that as an idea, but I want to hear them find themselves a bit more. But yeah, as a debut album from an independent band who have like 2,200 monthly listeners on Spotify, this is an absolute slammer. So big up to Toothless with Past Futures.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm stoked to check that out.
Yeah, you should. It's really fun.
Gary, I'd like to take you over to Louisville.
Louisville?
Yes,
I got permission from Brent to be able to pronounce it like that. Don't start on me.
No, you're allowed, mate. You got it. I'm talking about a band called Redivider. They released a album called Sounds of Malice on January the 9th. It came out through Third House Communications. Gary, this has been swimming around my ears for a little while, and it is some absolutely sick 90s Florida old school death metal worship. This
Sweet.
is This is Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, all coming in together, just absolutely ripping it with a brilliant production that sounds like $1 million. It's got sort of like a fantasy-driven vibe going on. It pulls from Dungeons and Dragons and Elder Scrolls lore, apparently, which is sick.
That's one way to win your approval, isn't it?
In it, that's absolutely sick. Like,
just chuck a bit of Elder Scrolls or bloody
bang it in
what's
there,
it called?
mate.
Dark Souls. Couldn't think what it was called. Chuck a bit of that in there, and son's your boy.
I'm in, mate. I'm in. Like, it's a very, very sick time for just riff enjoyers. Savage, pummeling death. Like I said, like Deicide and Cannibal Corpse are the big things that jump out to me when I was listening to this record. It is absolutely sick. Like, I think if you long for those like really like sort of low end throaty vocal assaults that like Glenn and George pull off, like, you're gonna absolutely dig this. There's a real sort of grim majesty about it as well. It does all the sort of box ticking, bat flying exercises that you enjoy from this kind of stuff. It has sort of brilliant instrumental passages like in Shackled to Existence, and blood-soaked melodies and winding epic solos that we crave in death metal. It's just absolutely sick. There's a real sort of brilliant low end that's going on. Like, there's these sort of like syncopated low end moments that almost get a bit mashuga. Like, there's like multiple points in the record where it goes like that. And that's very cool. Like,
I guess Meshuggah were a death metal band to start with before they started doing more of their kind of groovy stuff, weren't they?
Yeah. Why not? It's great. Like, yeah, it's a really, really sick, really stupidly solid album. And yeah, like I said, if you're into like Florida death metal, there's no way this album isn't going to float your boat. It's been a really strong year for death metal already this year, and there's some brilliant records coming. You need to check this out, because I bet it's probably, it's not been on many people's radar. Annoyingly,
no, it's probably slipped under in that stuff that comes out in January often does, doesn't it? So you need to stand up and pay attention.
Yeah, it rips. It is so Redivider, Sounds of Malice. Go and have a bloody listen to it, mate.
Next on my list is a band who I absolutely stumbled across by accident this week. They're called Uncultivates, and they have an album coming out on Friday the 6th of February called This Will Become Clear Later, Like the French Revolution. They've had a couple of previous singles out, one of which was called Second Rodeo, which I thought was a very good title for a song. But yeah, it just kind of fell across my Spotify radio while I was out and about listening to tunes while I was walking the dog. And I was immediately like, oh, hello, this is a bit interesting. And I think if I was to try and come up with like a snappy term for what it sounds like, I'm calling it bluegrass mathcore.
Whoa, that's strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's mainly guitar involved, but I do think that there's potentially a banjo put through a distortion pedal, Show Me the Body style, involved in here, and also quite a lot of the sort of bottleneck slide guitar work, which they use through a load of heavy distortion to create a sound which is something along the lines of Maylene and the Sons of Disaster meets Botch, and I think it really works, man. Like, it's a really interesting vibe. Do you remember when
you could say Maylene with anything, and I'll be like, oh, that sounds
I mean,
amazing.
you obviously, like around the time when Maylene came out with the first album, when it was like when they came out with one, and it was like pretty much any band who chucks southern riffs into something heavy, I'm probably going to be on board with. Like, the one that I was thinking about today, which I was obsessed with, is the Holly Springs Disaster. Do you remember the Holly Springs Disaster?
No.
Oh, dude, they were absolutely brilliant. I had a Holly Springs Disaster t-shirt, and it just had a picture of a Jack Herer plant on it. I was like, I have to own that shirt. That is absolutely badass. But anyway, like, it's not such a thing to do these days as to just chuck like big Pantera riffs into something more mathy. But this kind of vibe is really working for me. They also have a kind of chat piley sort of noisy lairiness that they use in a lot of places as well. It's just something really interesting that I haven't heard. I've not heard a band that sound like this for a while, and I definitely haven't heard a band that sound like this that come from our side of the ocean. Obviously it's Ireland, it's a different country, but they're not American is the point I'm trying to make. Which we will get onto some. There's a positive and there's a negative to that. We'll get onto it before we like tracks. There's some absolutely banging tracks on this. Dread First is rad. There's a song called Rental Snake, which I'm absolutely big up the Peep Show reference, and they kind of like make the most of that sort of like down and that sort of really twangy style with the heaviness and the drum is savage. The bassist does these kind of almost like Fieldy from Korn style slap stuff every now and then. It all works really well. There's a track called Flatly, which I'm hoping is a reference to Riverdance as they're Irish. It's quite menacing. Basically, musically, this band are absolutely wicked, but I do struggle a little bit with this kind of cowboy look that they're going for. Like, the front cover of the record is a picture of the band fully decked out, cowboy hats, bolo ties, fucking spurs. Like, they're proper leaning into it. Like, they look like Spirit World, but they come from Ireland, and it doesn't really mesh for me. But I do think it's not their fault. I do think that it's kind of a problem in modern heavy music that you've got to have an aesthetic. You've got to have it's the sleep tokenification of modern heavy music that you've got to kind of have a visual vibe that people can pick out. And I don't know if Cowboys is the one, lads. Like, I understand it goes with your music, but you've lent into it a little bit too far. I don't know, maybe it's just like a commentary on that whole thing, like kind of tongue-in-cheek taking the piss about, oh yeah, look, this is our aesthetic, and just sort of sending up, oh, we need to have a TikTok that people can recognize our band without the sound turned on and that kind of thing. Like, I do get it. I just think maybe they're presenting themselves maybe a little bit frivolously considering how fucking good they are. And it makes me think of, do you remember like Steak Sauce Mustache? Like, they're an incredible band, but they muck about too much. You kind of forget how good they are because of how much they muck about.
Yeah, they do muck about even too much for me, a serial mucker abouter.
Yeah, they muck about too much for me too, man, and that's saying something. But yeah, this album, I think Joe Clayton had a hand in the mixing and mastering of it as well, so it sounds bloody massive. Like, this, I think these are a really cool band, one to watch. Like, they're pretty small. They come from Ireland, which is not the obvious place for a heavy mathcore band to come from, but hopefully you get a chance to see them soon. I'm sure that they absolutely slap live. Yeah, this record, it really surprised me. I wasn't really like planning on even talking about it on the pod until like today, and I was like, no, actually, I need to mention this record.
I would like to talk once more about some very much cursed music.
Cursed as in they sound like cursed, or cursed as in a hex has been placed upon them?
As in a hex will befall thee and all thou's kin, that kind of vibe.
Oh, okay.
That kind of, obviously, obviously that's what I'm talking about. This band, they win the award for band most likely to be a bad guy in a fantasy or sci-fi, or like an 80s sci-fi name. On top of beating out only Toothless, actually. It was quite close between them two. But Gorrch.
Gorrch. I like it. Toothless is the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, so it's not exactly that hard, is it?
This thing rips, Gary. It absolutely bloody well rips. So Gorrch is a band by two brothers. One does guitars and bass, the other does drums and vocals and keyboards. The record was released on Avant-Garde Music on January 30th. I don't know if I said that already, but Avant-Garde Music last year obviously delivered to us one of the best things of the entire bloody year in Defacement. So, you know, truly doing bits for its namesake Avant-Garde Music there, like, and screaming out the gates in January 2026 with this just absolute bloody ripper, mate. This is intense, claustrophobic, relentless. It's full of just vile excellence. Like, they've been knocking about in the Italian underground for a little while. It probably will not surprise you that they have like a masked presence when they've played, you know, maintaining an aura of mystery, which is only befitting of a band such as Gorrch, with like a wormy face man on the front cover. It just makes total sense.
Wormy face man.
They've been transitioning from a feral black metal into a more experimental and dissonant place, which is where they find themselves on this record. And I'm bloody happy they did, mate, because I think this thing is just beautiful. This is so good. It's really raw. It's full of dread. It's really like massively dissonant. Properly like punishing and frenetic. It's very much in the realms of like a Vegadod. Like when we're talking about like when we're talking about the intensity of like dissonant black metal, like where are we? Like, are we, you know, are we in these realms over here where it's a bit more jangly and a bit loose and a bit more atmospheric, or are we sort of actually basically sort of tipped right towards death grind absolute insanity like a Vegadod would get to? And yeah, it's right up there in that intense zone, bro. This is non-stop just nastiness. It's properly searing. It's really sort of technically satisfying. It's properly brutal. The jangly dissonant guitars like create these really like just wonky skewed melodies, like the sort of the jangling of like it's, I can't even describe it. It's a very nice jangle. Like I just feel like I'm being warped by it, you know. I feel like I'm like there's something's being unlocked inside my brain, like maybe a repressed memory, maybe orders to kill the Prime Minister. I don't know what. But something's
Manchurian candidated.
Yeah, something's coming out the brain box. I don't know. I can't be sure what it is.
Being 100% winter soldiered by this record.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Could be, mate. The vocals are sick. It's like this bellowed, gravel-throated affair. It like feels just like shrapnel being spewed. It just feels so grating, and just the texture you feel that you can hold. It's just absolutely sick. I love it. It feels like it's just being like incantations are being spat out through the mix. It's so necrotic and warped, and that same way, sort of like Aranci Pazuzu, they put a bit of horrible on the end of something. Like they'll just sort of twist things and like make it properly sound like they're not even anywhere near human, you know. Like that's what you get in it.
I like it.
It's 37 minutes of intense, grim joy. It's like trying to hold on to a spinning razor. It is just a beast. Or maybe trying to stop it. Maybe trying to stop an angle grinder with your teeth. I think that might be a better way of saying it. But either way, if all of those things sound like things that you're interested in, maybe not the stopping the angle grinder bit, but like things that sound like that, you know, then maybe Gorrch is the one for you.
I mean, that sounds incredible. I'm down.
Bloody horrible, mate. This is like, yeah, great. I think you're gonna dig it. It's something to really just stick on in the car when everyone's winding you up, I think. That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, mate. I'm saving that right now. Actually, I'll get my phone out. How do you spell Gorrch? I'm in.
GORRCH.
GORRCH. Well, I'm glad I asked, because that is not how I would have spelt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. Count me in. That sounds wicked.
Yeah, man. It's properly sick. Some beautiful records. Hopefully, listening to us, you did discover at least one record that you weren't even familiar with, and you will go away with this just all full of riffs in your little ear bellies, and and then you sleep it off and start the next day and do it all over again.
We'll do it all again next week.
That's what we'll be doing. If you enjoyed the show, you should definitely give us some comments or some subs and stuff. Or like, even if you're listening to the audio version, right, and you're not doing the video, just come over to the video and put some comments on it. Just do that. It's really, it's such a gratifying sort of process. I find myself leaving reviews for everyone these days. Like any business that I brush up against, not that we're a business, just any individual. I'll if I brush anywhere near them, I'll submit a review straight to them.
I love it. You got to make money to be considered a business, yes. So we're definitely not a business.
So yeah, do that. That'd be nice. Give us a sub. Come down to Discord. Other than that, try not to be a complete.
Wow.
And on that note, we'll see you next week.